Welcome. In this video I'm going to be cleaning up this old Weber Q grill. This is a 2005 model. So Weber started making these in 2004, so this is the second year they made them. I'm going to be doing some other restoration in a different video. I'll put a link below to that. So the valve is broken on here, so I need to replace that. But otherwise it's in pretty good condition, just needs to be cleaned up, I think. So the products I'm going to be using to clean this is Super Clean. And my friends over at Super Clean sent me some, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase some of this, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon. And if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So I've been using Super Clean way before they ever sent it to me. I've been using it for decades now, at least 20 years. It's my favorite degreaser, works great. So I'll get to that in a few minutes. Now, Super Clean can be corrosive on aluminum, and this has aluminum parts on it, but there's a lot of grease on there, so the Super Clean will essentially like turn the grease to soap. So I'm not going to let it sit on there for a long amount of time, and I should be just fine. So before I get started, I want to remove the valve and the burner. So next I want to remove the burner, so I'll remove the grates here. We have a 7/16 bolt here. Now the bolt dropped out the bottom, so I found it. Now I'm just going to pull it out of here. So this comes out in two parts. There's another bolt hidden down here. Well, it's hidden because it's dirty. Okay, so I'm filming this from the future. I need to put a little correction in here on how to take these out. So I had put a new manifold in, so I had already loosened all of these bolts, but that is unnecessary. To take the burners out, you just loosen these two bolts here. You take the burner and pull it up till it's 90 degrees. This one you rotate 90 degrees, and then they just pull out of this piece here. So those are real easy to pull out. You don't have to mess with any of the fittings. Later in the video when I reinstall these, you'll see how I put them back in. So now I'm going to use a putty knife and I'm going to scrape everything loose into the grease pan. If we look at the lid here, it looks like there's peeling paint on there. And that's not actually paint, that's just deposits on there, so you can scrape those off too. And I'm not just guessing at that, that's on Weber's website in their FAQ section. Okay, so I have that scraped out pretty good. So now I'll pull the tray out. Now you can see the tray's kind of bent up. I'll bend this back later. So now I'll scrape this into a grocery bag for disposal. So before I spray this down and scrub it, I'm going to move it into my yard. That way everything that comes off of this can just break down in the soil. I don't want it to stain my patio, and I'm not doing it in an area where it will run off into a creek or anything. Okay, so you don't want to do this in direct sunlight. There's a little bit of sunlight over here, but it's actually moving up and it should be in the shade shortly. So I'm going to spray this on and I'll let it sit, and I'll also agitate it a little bit. Now when you agitate it, you're cutting little grooves in the grime and the grease, and that's going to give greater access to the chemical to do its job. And I may repeat that a couple different times just to break through it because this has some layers built up on it. So I'll probably have the grates on here, I'll take them off and then clean the inside, and then the stuff will drip through here also. Now I have left the grease pan out right now, so this will just drip below. And the plastic on here seems pretty stable except for the cover on the bottom. It seems a little brittle, so I'm going to be pretty delicate in cleaning that. Now I'm going to mist this so it doesn't dry out. I'll give it a rinse and we'll see how it looks. That's looking pretty good. You can see this is very clean. Now here there's still some grime on here, and I don't know what this is going to look like when I'm done, but like I said, I'll repeat this a couple times as I break down the layers, and I may need to use a wire wheel on a couple spots to get rid of some rust. But the side trays are looking really good. When those dry, I'll put some protectant on them, and I think they'll look really nice. I'll let those grates soak while I'm cleaning the inside. Okay, I think I'll give it a rinse and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so we're looking pretty good here. So the Super Clean works really well on the grease. Now the carbon more or less just needs to be abraded off. So like you'd use like a Scotch-Brite pad. So we can see like the bottom here, we're kind of down to the aluminum. On the sides, there's a buildup, but if I touch that there's no grease coming off of it. So I may get some kind of scrubbing pad and clean that up. So I have a couple of attachments for my drill I'm going to try out. So I'm just going to let that soak while I clean the rest of this. Okay, so I think that's as clean as I want it, so I'm going to let this dry out and then I'll put a protectant on the plastic. Okay, so this is dried off. Now I'm going to hit it with some 303 aerospace protectant. This is like sunscreen for plastic. So you want to get it on there and then you want to buff it out. So I'm going to do that to all the plastic on the grill. Now I want to install the burners. So there's a flat spot on this side. So I have the burner upright. I'll slide it in and then I'll fold it down. I'll do the same for the small burner, and actually I'm going to lift this one back up to give me access. Then I'm going to install the bolts, and the nut goes up. Okay, so I have this all finished up now. So I put the 303 on the plastic here and all of the other plastic around here. So it makes it look really nice. I've cleaned this up here, so now if I take my hand and move it along here, I have a little bit of carbon on my fingers, but I don't have that thick grease. So I've heated this up once pretty good. I may do it again and just to burn off anything that can be burned off, and then it's ready to go. But big thanks to Super Clean for sending me the product to get this cleaned up. The grease was really thick on the inside here. Now I don't expect my grill to be pristine, but at least we got that layer of grease off there, so we give it kind of a fresh start. And that Super Clean works incredibly well in this plastic. So I have a nice clean work surface here. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.